Yeah,
Like,
I'm starting. All right. So I'm going to make this as quick as possible. I don't really have a ton to go through. The biggest thing I want to go through right now is we're starting a new growth program. So the last couple weeks, I've been developing a system for growth that is different than what we've had before. I mean, we've been disorganized a bit when it comes to growth, and the reason for that, I mean, I think is because of size. But as we get larger, it makes sense for us to change the way that we do things. You know, for us to develop in a different way. Um, and we did a poll the other day. I think it was 92% of people said that they wanted to grow in Renewal by Andersen within our department. So sitting in front of, some people from corporate a couple days ago, we talked about this. And the cool thing about it was that we took the NPS scores, we took the results from an NPS review that we did to see where people wanted to grow, and it was pretty evenly split between sales and marketing. But then there was a lot of people that wanted to do things like admin and accounting, things like uh, uh, what was the other things? Install and service, assistant management, roles like that. So there's a lot of vast differences between what people wanted to do. So we decided, there was a need to develop a program that uh, that fit the amount of growth that people want. So, when you look at our leaders in the company, whether it's our CEO or it's our general manager or our older general manager who is our old general manager who is now the chief cultural officer, or it's our marketing director, any of these people, including the owner, Joe, none of them, some of them went to college, but none of them directly went to college and stuff that is experiencing what they're doing today. That's directly affecting what they're doing today. All of their jobs are trainable. Every single job in the company is trainable. And the benefit of having a company like that is that you can take someone that's really motivated and really good, and you can turn them into something great. And so what we're doing is something a little bit different. Here's the way that it's going to work: is that every month, the last week of the month, last Monday of the month, we'll take two polls, two forms. One of them we'll talk about growth, and one of them will talk about how the team is doing. You guys have taken them recently, and we've had great results with it. You can really see where some of the problems are coming from the teams. And so the benefit is that it makes things really transparent. But in addition to that, the growth graph is great because you get to see where people are trending real time and what they want to do. So the way this works is that the managers are tasked with having to do one-on-one meetings with the employees after they take that poll, the week after they take that poll at the end of the month. So first week of the next month, they'll meet with every employee, and they're going to go through a one-on-one process with them, where they're going to ask them about the growth they desire. They're going to go through their numbers, and then they're going to assign them a place sort of in the line for growth. And so the thing that you want to be focused on all the time, we're going to talk about this a little bit later in this video, is what you can do now to grow. You can't focus on, hey, 6 weeks from now, I'll start to actually work hard, because this is going to be an evolving process. And what's going to happen is you're going to see that as these graphs change, some people will start to rise, some people will start to dip a little bit based on what they do. It's not a performance-based thing, it's an effort-based thing. So after this is done, once you're recommended for growth, I'll meet with you, go through a one-on-one, and then we'll assign you somewhere in the growth process based on how long you've been here, what you've done so far, and what else you need to work on. Now, I brought with me an example of the path to leadership. And unfortunately, I couldn't get the slideshow up. I did bring a printout of it, so I will show that. So this would be the path to leadership. Okay, now you might not be able to read there. I'm going to go through it with you. Okay, so it starts with canvassing training. So you start with the company, and that canvassing training takes 2 weeks. We know that, right? 1 week in the office, basically 1 week on the road. The learning and development period is 4 weeks or so. Okay, so it's a month for learning and development. You're getting additional training. You're starting to see your numbers rise. Maybe you've gone through a tough period even already in this. Um, then consistent performance comes after that. So that's about 8 weeks long. Okay, that's the expected consistent performance. We expect you to be able to perform consistently. Leadership 101 in the interview process goes after that. And that's 1 week long, okay, or less. That being said, at that point, you don't just move on to the final process. At that point, after leadership 101, the 1 week, you could have a up to 4 week period of time in between there. It depends on where you're at and what you need to fix. If, let's say, we interview you and we say, hey, listen, there's some difficulties that we see here, some things that we need to work on, then you might sort of restart the consistent performance part, right? It depends where you're at. The interview process doesn't mean that you're hired right then and there. It means that you're a candidate for the job opportunity. You could be hired then and there, and then you start final training after that. Okay, so what that kind of looks like, and what each of those paths provide, by the way, too. So the initial training is essential to growth. You listen, ask questions, and memorize. The script and system, the core values are of supreme importance. And our advanced training program teaches you to communicate with homeowners at a higher level. That's in the growth period. Consistency is the most important metric for growth. Our average canvasser writes 2+ leads per day and issues 5+ demos per week. It's important to stay consistent through the growth process, so you don't have to get 8 to 10 demos a week. That's not something that's necessary for this. Our training means our interview process is an opportunity for growth and some continued learning for others. Our Leadership 101 training provides you with a clear path for growth. Make sure that you want to do the job that you want to do. It's going to tell you about the ins and outs of the job. Once you become a team lead, once you're accepted to that, the final team lead training balances on-the-road training with situational testing. Okay. So the consistency process, after you're done with all the training, you'll be expected to track your results. Okay. Now we'll have an Excel form for this as well, where you can track your results with lead names and things like that as well. We want to track everything. It gets you used to looking at the numbers. So instead of going into management, not knowing what you're looking for, you get to look for cancellation rate, demo rate, one party ratio, all that stuff. It's all supreme important. So you're able to look for that right away. You're also able to go to different training classes too. So we're going to have different training classes starting next week that are available to everybody for both positions. Okay. Some of these are for sales. Some of these are for management. Some are going to be for install, by the way, too. If you want to go into install, then we will send you out on installs, and you could write down the dates of those trainings and the dates of those installs and what you learned from that process. I got that from AA, by the way. When it's court mandated AA, you show up to an AA meeting, they make you have them sign it. Leadership 101 comes after that. And these are the things gone over in Leadership 101. So you get your team lead best practices are gone over, creating a positive team environment, effective training and techniques, creating consistency in the 5 levels of leadership. At that point, you'll be given a copy of the book, 5 Levels of Leadership, and you're expected to read that book before you were to start in your final interview process and your final training. After you do make it to that final training, you're going to learn a lot about a lot of different things. So this is going to teach you everything else you need to know about the job. At this point, you've known enough to know whether or not this is going to be a job for you. Okay. So you have your recruiting and hiring, in office and on the road training. You have your territory scouting and mapping, permitting, vehicle inspection and safety, conducting effective one-on-ones, performance and development plans, and terminations and HR concerns. Okay. So everything will be learned there. And at that point, then you become a team lead and you move into the process of tracking your team lead results. Okay. So that's how that program will look. Okay. So again, it's a consistent line, a consistent process, and it's clear for every person and every job. So it makes it really easy for you to be able to do your job. No problem. Any questions? Chase, do you have any questions? All these people online, there's nobody on here. Do you have any questions? No? Okay, good. Andrew, do you have any questions? Can you think of any good questions that anybody would have for something like that? All right. It's pretty clear and effective. I mean, it's an easy way to be able to track results. You'll be able to see your NPS scores real time. And you won't have to worry about whether or not you're in that growth process. You can see it's easy for you to be able to grow. Okay. Yeah, yep. I mean, they're defined in here, you know. The only thing that's not clear is if there's some sort of issue or problem, then if there's some sort of issue or problem, then you should be able to know through your own tracking results. And so it should be pretty evident to you. But at that point, that's when you'd be taken out of the training program and you'll be able to how do I put it? You'll be able to kind of refocus your efforts. Yeah, just change your mind, mindset. The only thing that would throw you off this, guys, is mindset. Like, that's it. So it's not, when you look at this job, the most important part of the job that we do is mindset, is keeping yourself in a positive frame of mind. It's very easy to fall off from that. It's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to cause issues in your career. And the thing that happens to people often is that they get into a position where they can grow. They kind of freak out. They start to not do as well, and then they end up kind of failing at their job. And then they want growth again. That's the thing that we always laugh about, is that unfortunately, when people start to fall off, that's when they want growth all of a sudden, because they think it's going to like rejuvenate their career. It's not going to rejuvenate your career. It's not going to change anything to the positive. Okay. So if anybody does have any questions after you watch this, just let me know. I'll be making a follow-up video to answer some of those questions. As soon as I can get the slideshow up, I'll redo this video as well. But that's really it.